Um, Awesome. Okay. Okay, today's July 17th. It's 9:20. This is the Hawaii Police Commission. We're meeting in Kona. And we're going to do the call to order and the roll call.
Chair Yamada,
Present?
Commissioner Fisher,
Here.
Commissioner Lasorte, Commissioner Tavares,
Here.
Commissioner Urban Smith,
Here.
Vice Chair Botello, Commissioner Enriquez, and Commissioner Salavale are not present, but we do have quorum.
Okay, item number 2 on our agenda, statements from the public on agenda items. Public statements must be related to items specifically listed on this agenda. Statements may be provided at the start of the meeting or when the specific agenda item is called. Testifiers are reminded you're limited to a maximum of 5 minutes. Do we take statements if they? Is there anybody that wants to give a statement on the public agenda item? Can you remind us what the agenda item is?
Yes, sir. It is, other department activities and highlights. Under police reports, the chief's report.
Okay. Okay, can you tell us who you are?
Now, I'm here today.
Can you turn, is your mic on? There you go.
Does that mean it wasn't recorded as well?
Possibly not. You can repeat yourself.
Aloha. I was sad to not see Wendy here. And 2 other commissioners are not here. I waited for this time for 2 months. Police chief's report on department activities. My testimony is under other department activities. I'm asking this council, as well as Chemo Alameda, as well as whatever other department is involved with this. Our young new officers need retrained, trained, and to use the Miranda rights. That's part of the law. Mahalo nui, God bless Hawaii.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? You have something, ma'am?
Pardon?
Do you have something to say?
Yes,
Okay,
my name is Geraldine Pytel, and I live at senior housing in Kapa'au, North Kohala.
Okay.
On December the 12th, I called 911 because I was accosted by the new owner. On that recording of 911, it was quite obvious the state that I was in, because I already have an issue with my leg being physically challenged. When I called 911, the police did not come to me.
can I pause you for a second, ma'am? Are you speaking on a complaint that you filed with the police commission?
Pardon?
No, you're not. Are you speaking on a complaint that you filed with the police commission that we're going to hear today? No?
Ma'am, I think he's asking, did you file a report with the police commission specifically, or is this a more general topic?
I don't understand. I'm here. What is it?
You need to talk on an agenda item. Your agenda item is number personnel report, what the personnel have done to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So my point being that I called 911, and when the police arrived, they went to the red zone, which was where the so-called manager and Paul Gregory, who's the executive director of the Housing Foundation, he's a new person in charge, the police went to those 2 guys. The report that is written is all their words. My concern, my call was because I was physically pushed. His hands were on my shoulders and he pushed me, and that was my call to the police. Everything on this report was written or said by Paul Gregory and Jimmy, as I said, the so-called manager. And what was written here reported that me, was pushed by Paul Gregory, who is the executive director, Big Light Housing Foundation, nonprofit organization, who manages Ainakea Housing. Gregory said, he didn't call the police, I call the police. Gregory said that Pytel was getting in the way of landscapers. And other witnesses said that he did not push Pytel. Well, I'm here to say I called the police because I was pushed. And they didn't come to me, they went to Paul Gregory and Jimmy. And I have the audio, and in the audio, it's obvious that I was physically attacked. And this is written in their favor, in Paul Gregory's favor, that I was interfering. Be informed, where is it? In other words, I'm not going to call on myself to get a violation to have a notice of eviction. That's my point. They're evicting me because of lies, period. I'm really nervous right now. I'm not accustomed to doing this. It's written in his favor, not in my favor, that I was pushed. Twice, not even once, but twice. So it's in his favor that I was a bad girl, that I'm a criminal.
Chair, would you mind if I ask a question? On the report itself, we haven't seen the report. Typically, not all reports are raised to the commission. What did you give a statement to the police when they arrived on scene?
It's hard to hear you.
I'm sorry. Did you give a statement to the police officers that arrived on scene?
Yes.
Is that in the report?
When they came across from the parking lot, they came up to me, and that was the reason why I called. In fact, I even told a dispatch not to send the police because I didn't want to get kicked out.
Mhm.
Because this man pushed me, and if I complain, they're going to evict me. Well, they're evicting me anyway.
Mhm. But did you give a statement to the police when they arrived?
Yeah, but everything on the report was something that Paul Gregory and Jimmy spoke of. The only thing that says on this report was that I was pushed, but they're denying it.
Sorry, Chair, I know we're out of time, but if I could ask just a couple more questions on this. In the report, is your statement in the report? Or is it only the statement of Mr. Gregory and Jimmy?
Gregory and other witnesses said that Gregory did not push Pytel, but kept her away from the landscapers. Okay, it's him that is. In other words, my words aren't really in here other than the fact that he pushed me. All this other jargon is what other people said, and they didn't call the police, so they're blaming me for. I'm not calling the police to be evicted. I'm not calling the
Sure,
police.
Sure. No, that makes total sense. And I was just wondering if, part of the investigation is for the police officer to take statements from the various people who were on scene, not just yourself and not just Jimmy and not just those people, but everybody around there. And that's typically what gets folded into the report. So that's why my question is, was there any statement in the report of the language that you used when you spoke with the officers?
The only thing that's in here was reported that she was pushed by Paul Gregory. Okay, so it's from his mouth, not my mouth.
But it does say in the report that you were pushed, that there's a statement that you were pushed by Paul Gregory?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was my main question.
Finished.
Oh,
Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 3. approval of minutes. If commission members have reviewed the minutes to the May 15th regular and executive sessions, can I get a motion to approve these minutes, please?
Commissioner Fisher, I make a motion to approve the May meeting minutes.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second Commissioner Lassert.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The minutes for the May 15, 2026, regular and executive sessions are approved. All right, moving on, item number 4, Police Chief's Report on Department Activities.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm Major Scott Elmore of the Air and Operations. I'm going to go over the crime report. I'm going to start off, I'm going to do the June one. And the June one is basically our fiscal year, end of our fiscal year, yeah. So up through June 30th, 2026, there were 5,453 serious crimes. Of these 5,453 serious crimes, the Area 1, Area 2 criminal investigation units investigated 850 of those cases, 565 in Area 1 and 285 in Area 2. Now, with that graph in the middle where you see crimes listed by area, if you look at the fiscal year to date, 2025 to 2026, you compare it with 2024's and 2025's. Basically, in Area 1, burglaries was down compared to the previous year. Robberies were up, thefts were down, auto thefts were down, sexual assaults were down, murder went up, attempted murder went down, and assaults went down. For Area 2, compared to the previous fiscal year, looking at 100, you're looking at burglary, it went up, robbery went down, theft went down, auto theft went down, sexual assaults went down, murder went down, attempted murder, no change, and assaults went up. Overall, fiscal year to date, for Area 1, those major crimes went down, and in Area 2, those major crimes went down. Our calls for service for the month of June 2026, the department received 9,113 calls for service. Fiscal year to date, 116,944 calls. Does anyone have any questions?
Anybody has any questions for the major? I don't really have a question, more of a comment, maybe solicitation from the other commission members. When you guys go through these initial reports, I know myself, I start scrambling through these papers to figure out I'm looking at the right
Graph?
one. I don't know if
Okay.
anybody else does. But maybe we can figure out a way to all be looking at the same page as they're giving us our report, because while you're giving the report, I'm looking for the
Oh, okay.
report. Does there, anybody
Okay,
else?
I'm
have
sorry.
this issue? Okay, so I don't know how we can,
Catch up by the third page.
yeah, so
Okay. I'm not sure
You-
what you
maybe-
folks actually get compared. Can I come up and show you what I have?
well, no, we have the same
Oh, you have the
thing.
same graphs?
It's just that as you're talking about one, I'm searching for that particular
Okay.
sheet. So, you know,
I would definitely slow it down.
maybe you gotta draw a picture for us first.
Okay,
and
so
go, "Okay,
overall,
this is the form we're going to be reading from right now.
okay,
And
One thing, Chair, that
I'll
might
I'll
be,
slow that down.
yeah, no, and.
no, it's not about slowing down. It's just,
Yeah, one thing that might be helpful is if we just put page numbers on the top of it and you just said, hey, if you refer to the bottom of page
even
1,
if you write them in hand, by hand or?
Or when we get this,
Actually,
so
we can
that
figure
we're
out.
looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, if we have the same packet and you have the same packet, and you can say, if you look at page 1 down to the 4th column, blah, blah, blah. Then we can
Okay.
all just jump right to it.
Because
and
we
then-
do have the same.
Yeah, that's
Papers,
exactly the
yeah.
same one.
Yeah.
All I do is go across on this time.
Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
know which sheet
Which
you're
one I'm
reading
looking
from
at.
at the time.
Okay.
It's a little thing,
Yeah, we'll
but
look at it.
I'm
It would
glad
make
it's
it
not only
easier.
me that goes through this.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I was always wondered why you guys kind of looked at me funny
No,
all this time.
no. That's true too. Yeah,
Okay.
that's true. To tell you the truth, I was kind of hesitant to bring it up because I'm thinking, am I the only guy that's lost here? But apparently I'm not, so.
Okay,
That's
we'll
good.
work on
Yeah.
making it, simplifying it or making it.
Okay,
Easier.
cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on.
Morning. Rio Ammon Wilkins, Assistant Police Chief for Area 2 Operations, West Side. Traffic crashes for fiscal year 2025, 2026 was 975. That's a 3% decrease from the previous fiscal year. Traffic fatalities were 24 last fiscal year. An increase of 1, which is 4%. DUI related fatalities last fiscal year was 15 compared to 9 the previous year, increase of 67%. DUI arrests 820 for the fiscal year compared to the previous year of 943, a decrease in 13%. For the month of June 2026, a total of 5,581 traffic citations were issued. 3,578 for moving and regulatory violations, 307 seatbelts, 34 child restraints, and 1,409 were for speeding. We have the breakdown here also for the DUI arrest of the ages. I can go over those.
Oh,
For June, there were 40 age 22 and up, a slight decrease from the previous month. 18 to 21-year-olds, there were 14 compared to 7 the previous month. 17 and under, there were 0 for the 2 months. Any questions?
you got a question? Go ahead.
So, you know, on the traffic crashes and the traffic fatalities, not so much looking at the percentages, but I know one of the hot topics has been Saddle Road. You want to talk a little bit about, I know there was a state of emergency declared and there's some work being proposed. What are some of the efforts being made on the HPD side of things to help curb what we're seeing out there?
I think it was the beginning of June, we had 2 traffic fatalities on Saddle, more on the Hilo side. We greatly increased our enforcement and presence up there. I think there's about a 3-week period where we were up there probably 2/3 of the day. I mean, between early in the morning till the evening hours with a lot of increased enforcement. Due to manpower issues, it wasn't sustainable for us to leave the amount of officers we had up there for that 3-week period. But we still are maintaining a pretty large presence up there, primarily during the heavy commute hours in the morning and the afternoon. I live in Hilo. I drive over Saddle every day. And I've definitely seen the behavior of motorists. I think for the most part, I've seen an improvement in it over the last, month and a half. Which is good. I mean, obviously you still have, some people who don't pay attention, but I think for the most part, we've definitely seen an improvement. And I mean, every morning when I drive this way and back in the afternoon, I do see officers up there, with the increased enforcement, and we plan to keep that, and to maintain that.
Okay, thank you for that update. Yeah, I know the community that I live in and help represent is very nervous about traveling on Saddle right now, and travel on Saddle a lot. So I know it's definitely a front of mind, and hopefully that nervousness does help curb it as well. You hate to see fatalities or accidents lead to that, but Appreciate the additional resources you guys are putting there. The other part of my question is, how do you folks interface with PTA as far as enforcement goes? Is there any interface or overlap? Are there certain jurisdictions that you guys are not enforcing that they are? And that's just more, I'm trying to educate myself.
I know that we cover the entire, section or the entire Saddle Road. I haven't seen PTA doing any enforcement on the roadway. I know the sheriffs at one point, discussed they're patrolling by the airports in the afternoons, and they actually, discussed, and I believe our chief reached out to them as well to see if they would be able to, provide some resources up there also. If not for enforcement, at least for presence, so people see them up there.
That's the sheriff's office or PTA?
Sheriffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Historically, has PTA ever played a role in helping with having some sort of presence, at least near the base?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. It might be something to just kind of kick around as you guys have your internal meetings, if that is something that might be worthwhile. Lieutenant Colonel Park is the newly appointed head of command over there, and he seems very open to new ideas. And you know how it is when somebody first starts, it's a great opportunity to highlight some of the issues and concerns, especially where there is overlap, and see if there's something that they could do, even to, if they've got patrol people, that they can stage them strategically just to help support you folks too. So
Yeah, it's my understanding that they have done some enforcement up there, PTA.
mhm.
It's also my understanding that that's since ended. So that's, the citations issued by military is totally different, and there's no actual fines as the one that they actually give. No court date, no nothing. It's more of a warning
Mhm.
when they issue that. So my understanding is that they were doing that and helping out, and that it's since ceased.
Good. Well, thank you guys.
I have a question. This might be more of a philosophical, or maybe more suited to the acting chief commenting on. But I just wonder is there a specific strategy that the department is following in regards to Saddle Road fatalities in particular? Because I think I've heard this at least once before, where if there's a fatal on Saddle, this is the response from the police department, whether it be, we're gonna be visible for the next whatever. Am I wrong?
No, before in Area 1, we used to have, we had a post-fatality protocol that Assistant Chief Kyocho had initiated for the past like 3 or 4 years, where when there is a target area, an area there's a fatality and it appears to be related to speed, alcohol, or whatever else, we've increased enforcement as much as we can in that area to let people know that we're there with really with the goal of minimizing that from happening again in that area. Now, there's
Sure.
some fatalities that you can't do anything about, which private property, ATV flips over in Honokaa and someone dies and stuff like that. Pedestrians are very difficult, especially in the Puna district, with the amount of people that are on the roadways and walk out, and how there's poor lighting out there to begin with and poor infrastructure, to be honest. But we do our best to increase that. Now, we have officers who are always conducting enforcement. In the Saddle Road's case, the acting chief Byrd went ahead and helped create this response that we had with input from us, and I'm sure she can talk about that more. But we have TEU officers up there every day. Our traffic enforcement officers on 2 or 3 of the fatals were a few miles away when it happened. They're unmarked, so that's the thing. But I think this last week, I like to say there were over 60 speeding citations up there, by just from the traffic unit alone, and having the uniform presence with the light on the car, the subsidized vehicle patrol presence helped out significantly. But in the case of DKI, it's not only enforcement that's going to solve that issue. as you see, the state is working on fixing the road. I
Mm.
mean, there are things that need to be fixed, runoff and everything else, that if the roads aren't always being maintained, we have this problem in multiple places, and, you know, you see it happen. So, I think it's a concerted effort. Everybody got to get together and do their particular part in responses, you know, and, I think
But-
2 of the last fatals that happened up there in DKI were not even speed induced.
Yeah.
They were below the speed limit. That was proven.
Yeah.
You know, so,
No, I personally, I totally agree with what you just said. Some of the fatals are not, I mean, let's be real, they're not preventable because stuff happens. There's so many factors. I think there needs to be maybe like a, part of it, maybe like a cultural shift on the acceptance of this type of driving. I think my personal issue or my personal experience was I drove in that area shortly after the fatals, and I saw the obvious, visible presence of law enforcement up there, right? And you guys know that I'm sure there was a lot of overtime involved, but there was a lot of officers up there, even in the pouring rain. So because I was a cop before, I see it for what it is. You know, I understand it. Part of it is PR. I understand that too. But so you had that for, what was it, like a couple weeks around there?
3 weeks.
3
or
weeks.
4, yeah, 3
Okay.
weeks at least.
So I contrast that with just 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week. Yeah, last week. No, maybe 2 weeks ago. Went to Costco on a random Wednesday morning.
Mhm.
Okay. And going over, I saw zero law enforcement, which is fine. Okay. But in my mind, I just saw a whole lot just before that. And then coming home, just in my head, I thought, well, maybe I'll see one or two. And I saw zero again. So anyway, my thought is, I know how this works. So I think I'm a little different than maybe just a general public driving up there, but the optics are the same. And the optics are, wow, there's a lot of law enforcement up here. Yeah, some people died. This is great. And I'm talking about from the standpoint of the community. But then 4 weeks later, you see nothing. And what does that say to the public?
Mhm.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about whether fatalities were being prevented or not or whatever. I'm just talking about the optics of it.
Mhm.
So I turned to my wife and I go, what do you think about this? Right? And she said, well, basically like, yeah, it doesn't look good. That's all. It doesn't look good. And I thought to myself, the presence up here is effective. But when the public, some of the people see that, oh, they're gone, now I can go back to my regular habits. Rio, I don't know how, if you had to commute to Kona prior to this position, you did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know how it is. I know how it was. Wow, it's scary. It's scary. Even for us, it's scary. Yeah. I remember doing traffic stops way in 2007 in my undershirt because the guy was just driving so ridiculous. I felt like I needed to do something or something bad was going to happen. This is before, or just at the transition of new saddle to old saddle. Anyway, my point is, and like I said, this may be more of a question for the chief's office. My point is that it took a lot of resources to put that much law enforcement over there for 3 weeks. Maybe could there also be a strategy of, you know what? let's spread out these resources so we can have presence up there. But it won't be necessarily every day from whatever time to whatever time, because we know human nature. If it's just a matter of, oh, today I didn't see an officer up there, but tomorrow I do, it plants something in the driver's head, correct? And the resources that we use for 3 weeks, could we have maybe spread that out so it's constant? Not saying that it doesn't happen. I totally agree with you. I see TEU up there, things like that. But I don't know. That's just me thinking out loud. I don't know if the commission members agree or disagree. I'd love to hear what your opinions are too.
So I'm in full agreement with the optics, right? Definitely with optics. And I think what we're discussing is like maybe proactive versus reactive measures. So I did the same thing, right? I used to work, or there was a project, and then so I drove that same stretch, what, 2018 to 2020. It was that, but it's how Saddle is today without the new sections, or with all the new sections, I'm sorry. And I'm bring my personal bias into, because sometimes I have to drive tractors and big trucks, and I always tell people, like, you want to see bad drivers, like, step into one of those, because that's where, I mean, just Wednesday I'm driving up to Mauna Kea in a dump truck, and I can't even see the car behind me because their spacing is so tight, right? And what I think is, I just feel that the drivers in general, it's a very general statement, but the drivers are just worse as they compared to when I was driving that road 7 years, 8 years ago. We all have driven that stretch, and you adjust your speed accordingly, right? So I guess what I'm saying, by driving it as much as I did, I've hit heavy rain, I've hit heavy fog, I've hit sun, I've hit all the different conditions, and you're going to adjust your speed accordingly. The other thing I think the phone is the big one, and I don't know if what you guys are seeing, maybe I'll get your opinion on that, but like, I think people are just distracted. I think that driving, especially, having that computer at there, you're not paying attention. And so, because ultimately that's what it is, right? People got to be accountable for their own driving habits. And I think they're just getting worse and worse. And I think that personally, and this has nothing to do with you guys, but like, I think that just to get a regular driver's license, I think that process needs to change, make it more like CDL, make it a little bit stricter, because there's a lot of people driving on the roads that I feel, shouldn't have a license. But
Yeah.
so, like, I don't know, like, yeah, what's the strategy in terms of being proactive? And that's just the reality. People aren't they're not aware, and they're just worse drivers. And because you nailed it on the head. It's like, because when all of that enforcement did go up there, and there were all those tickets, like, that was a good thing. But like you said, and I knew it, it's like, that's not sustainable. And keeping people up there and writing tickets over and over and over again, or kind of chasing something that we'll never catch. It's like, ultimately, it's just poor drivers.
You have something, Bernie?
Yes, I do. Good morning. I totally agree with my fellow commissioners here regarding the optics. I too feel that the responsibility should fall on the drivers. There's only so much that HPD can do. I also feel that getting a driver's license should go through more of a treacherous process, as well as the fines for speeding. I feel the fine should be increased dramatically to discourage drivers from repeating that mistake. On that note, I'm gonna sidetrack for a little bit. I just wanted to know if you could share with me the process of what happens on HPD's side when a community member reports a unruly driver or someone who's speeding. If you could tell me what happens on HPD's side, please.
Those calls go into dispatch, and then dispatch will assign a patrol officer to that area. The patrol officers will go and try to locate the vehicle and stop them. And if they observe citable offenses, they'll cite them. If not, they'll do counseling. I'm not certain if our traffic services, are they still sending letters out? And then our traffic, if the person is not contacted by an officer, our traffic services section will send a letter to the registered owner of the vehicle informing them that on such date and time, there was a call came in that that vehicle was reported as driving recklessly.
Mhm.
And
So.
we get a lot of those calls every day.
Yeah, and
I-
I'm asking because in my district, I've seen lately a few more increased accidents on Ali'i Drive. And as someone who is born and raised here, Ali'i Drive has always been known as kind of like the cruise road, where no one basically goes over like 35 miles an hour. But to have seen over the course of the years, several vehicles overturned, and more recently a fatality on that road, it makes me think like, okay, so if I'm on the road and I see something happening, more lately, I've been seeing, and this is another question for later. I've been seeing a lot of motorcyclists passing on the right-hand side. Um, as a driver, what would be useful to have when I call, either for a motorcyclist or a regular automobile? I mean, of course, I would try to get the license plates. That's the obvious. Anything else you can recommend for community members?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, definitely the license plate, a description of the motorcycle, a description of the operator, the direction they were traveling, and then, violation, if there was a violation, whatever violation was observed. Motorcycles present a whole separate issue for officers as far as, I think if you look at statistics, a lot of motorcycles don't stop, for when officers try to pull them over. So that presents a whole nother problem, but which is why it's, important to get the license plate and description. So, if the officer doesn't contact them, at least a letter can be sent to them and they're made aware of the complaint.
Thank you. Also, for the amount of calls that you get, can you give me a rough estimate of how many of those actually get a citation?
I don't have those numbers. I could try to get those numbers for you. I don't even know exactly what the percentage is of the vehicles that are stopped, but I can look
Okay.
into that.
Thank you. I guess I'm just asking because, I know that HPD has their hands full with many other things, not just moving citations. So I'm just wondering, how can the community be of assistance to help during these times where someone is just being a punk on the roads,
I think it, was mentioned earlier that some of these traffic fatalities weren't avoidable. I think most of them are avoidable by the vehicle operator, whether it's being distracted, whether it's, we can say that certain traffic fatalities, speed wasn't a factor. But maybe speed was a factor, even if they weren't speeding. Maybe, because, some areas there's a posted speed limit, but maybe it needs to be reduced, or maybe you need to pay attention to the roadway and the conditions and the traffic, weather. I think anytime people witness, reckless driving or, things that looks dangerous, they should report it. A lot of times people don't want to report it, or, they think nothing's going to happen. But I think, the more that people report it, the better it is. And, if there's no officers in the area to make contact with the people, at least, the letter can be sent to them and they can be made aware that somebody noticed their driving behavior and, it didn't go unnoticed.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Commissioner Lissert. I call the Saddle Road the Wild Wild West. And I have a Tesla, so I just put it in and it just, goes the speed limit. But then it's like people are going like. But my question is, can you not put cameras there and give tickets from the cameras? like they do in other areas, you know. And I would think that those cameras need to be in different places daily. But I know the technology is there and it um, eliminates having to have so many officers there. It's
I
just
think
that,
the state is talking about that, right?
I think the state is talking about that, and
Yeah.
I know Honolulu did that years ago, and there were some legal issues with, um, identifying, you can identify the vehicle, but not necessarily the operator. So I
Mm.
think when some of those citations went to court, that was an issue. You loan your car to somebody else and, the vehicle's observed speeding. Was it you operating it or was it someone else? But,
can you give the car a ticket? Serious? No.
You could, but it could get thrown out.
yeah, I mean, that's something we'd have to discuss with, the prosecutors and
But
court
I
counsel.
think
and
if
the
I
courts.
loaned somebody my car and then I was notified that it was speeding and they, like in other states, they give you the picture with the speed limit. I would definitely take action to who I loaned my car
As the
to.
owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like a simple technology thing that would,
Mm.
you know, if we catch up to the times, it would be easy to do.
Yeah.
And not that expensive and not that technical either.
Mhm.
Just a thought.
I would offer to Bernie and other community members, the part about the hesitancy to call it in, because you just don't know if it'll be any good. I would say just call it in. Because depending on the makeup of the district, sometimes you'd be surprised how many times we find these people, right? I worked in North Hilo for 7 years, 7.5 years, and we would catch those kind of drivers all the time. Why? There's only one road. If they see you at one end, I'm gonna catch you at the other end, and all I gotta do is go down to the highway. So it all depends, but every once in a while you get lucky, you get an officer just happens to be in the area. So I would say report it, because, it's hard to like not report it and then also to think, well, what if something bad happens and I didn't say anything? Yeah. So that's how I would approach it. Um, with that being said, personally, I'm very hesitant to call the police for anything. That's how I am. But I had to call them last night and I got great service. So, I mean, I got to commend you guys on that. And I was like telling my wife, it was a possible trespasser at a relative's house. And my wife is like, should we call the police? I'm like, nah, we'll just go check it out. But then there was a little voice in the back of my head said, you know what? You should just call. And I did, and they came and everything worked out. Yeah. So I would, say to call. I just have one more comment or question maybe, and this might sound wild, but as far as different ways to approach this problem, you know how like at some workplaces they have billboards that say how many days till the last injury? What about a billboard that says how many days to the last fatality? I don't know if that's something the state would consider or if the public would just not swallow that, but I mean, right there, it's in your face, whether you're a tourist or not, you're gonna pass that billboard. Anyway,
Chair, I just wanted to share what my son did. He was following somebody back to his home and they were weaving everywhere. And he had his phone on the dash and he hit record. And he recorded the person, weaving all the way till they got to their home. And he posted it on Facebook. And of course, it showed the license plate and everything. And then he got a phone call from that person saying, can you please take that down? I was coming from work and I was very tired. And my son said, yes, I'll take it down, but be more careful. So I know with Teslas, you can hit the dash cam too, and
yeah.
you could record somebody in front of you that's driving reckless.
So that's one of the outcomes that could happen on social media. The other outcome, so many, but the other outcome is you as the reporter, you get attacked mercilessly. So it's like you can't win. That's a good result, but Yeah.
Here's another wild thought here. I always think if there was a system in place for citizens who are serious about helping HPD on the roads to create some kind of program where they can have temporary authority to issue a moving violation.
That is a crazy thought.
Just a thought. Thank you.
We're hiring.
Yeah, I like it though. All right. In the past, we'd have citizens giving parking tickets, right? In Kona, right? I don't think that happens anymore. I don't think the world today would make something like that practical, right? It's just too dangerous and so
I think
much
there's
different
just safety
liabilities.
concerns for
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. So, yeah, anyway, the road is very different now. Now. Okay, where are we at? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We're still on the police chief's report.
Yeah, vice.
Oh, vice. We have a vice report?
Aloha, good morning. I'm Assistant Chief Chope from Hilo Administrative Services, and I'll be covering the vice report today for Captain Biden. For the previous month, June 2026, I'll go over the significant seizures, methamphetamine in grams, 21,599 grams. To relate that to something that we can more easily wrap our head around, that's about 47 pounds of methamphetamine. Heroin, 1,058 grams, which is about 2.3, 2.5 pounds. Fentanyl pills, 6,407. Dried marijuana, 297 grams, which is a little over half a pound. And the marijuana concentrate is the last one I'll discuss, which was about 108 grams, small amount, less than a quarter pound. The other one, oxycodone, 0.67 grams. A gram is about the weight of a dollar bill, just to put it in relative terms. And then some other miscellaneous drug paraphernalia and three firearms seized along with 133 rounds of ammunition. Are there any questions on the vice report?
Good morning, Missy. I noticed here when you were mentioning about the fentanyl,
Yes,
yes, there was no seizure in West Hawaii?
correct.
Wow, thank you.
I have maybe more of a comment, Commissioner Lassert. I was at a political fundraiser and the politician was saying that he wanted to change how the federal funds were coming to the state for drug prevention. And he said, we don't have a fentanyl problem. We have our problem is meth. And I want the money to go for meth treatment instead of on fentanyl. And I said to him, where are you from? You know, I just there's no public awareness about how much fentanyl is confiscated, I think every month here. And I mentioned something and the people were like, they were just in shock that that's our island.
Yeah, I can provide some brief commentary. The fentanyl, although the quantities are smaller, from what we see and what we know is it doesn't take a whole lot to make a big difference with it.
Right.
So the smaller amounts, it still is a significant impact on our community for overdoses. There is a lot of public awareness, so I'm kind of sad to hear that that was an opinion out there that, and a lot of organizations going around with naloxone, you know, so we can help overcome that. And the education part is a real huge thing. So along with these big seizures, not having it reach our community is a great thing too. So.
And it's still the case that there's more on our island and then it gets dispersed out to the others?
Not necessarily. Sometimes it's just the pathway to get things here may be easier. Honolulu, obviously, there's a lot more flights, there's a lot more ports. That's the major hub for the state, but sometimes there's more enforcement in those areas. So we initially may be another pathway to get things into the state. So it just depends on what the trend is and where enforcement is heaviest to be able to catch it.
So the amount confiscated, and I don't know the figures, but it looks like there'd be enough to kill everybody in the state.
This is the pills, which does have fentanyl in it. What the concentration of that is, I don't know in
Yeah.
there,
Oh, I see.
but highly likely.
I was just gonna ask you that. Is one pill, one dose?
It-
Generally.
And you know, being a former officer, you realize that these pills they're not produced by pharmaceutical companies in specific ratios and dosages. This is normally by a backyard pharmacist or drug dealer making a quantity. So the variation from one pill to the next in the dosage may be very widely. So
How often is the pure 100% substance recovered here? I don't know.
that
Or does it happen?
very rarely. But you'll see on here where it has above the fentanyl pills, the fentanyl grams, that's like the powder form.
Oh, yeah.
So much smaller quantity. But again, the concentration of it would vary, and then how much of it would take to be a lethal dose would also vary.
Okay, thank you.
What does it cost? Like one pill? Like if someone went to buy, how much does it cost?
It can vary widely, and it depends on your source or your dealer, who you're going to. If you're a new customer, if you're an old customer, there's an economics to it, and obviously any dealer is going to try and get the most they can from it. And if you're not familiar with it, they're going to significantly overcharge you. So I couldn't tell you what a value is. I can try and see what we have as average value though.
Quick question, Commissioner Tavares. So the meth seizure, heroin seizure, fentanyl pill seizure in June, obviously large amount. So congratulations on getting that off the street. Mahalo. Was that all in one large seizure?
So that's a very great question, and without elaborating on it, those are active investigations still, so I don't want to.
No, I appreciate
Tip the
that,
hat on that.
and the sensitivity around it. I don't recall seeing anything in the newspaper because I would assume we would see something like that. So, but regardless, appreciate the good work. That's fantastic.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, I'll move on to the personnel report. One thing I'll share with the commission is, as you're all well aware, there's a vacant police commission secretary spot. We have currently 4 candidates, and we're going to be working to conduct the interviews and move that process forward to help everybody out in this in the process. For sworn personnel vacancies through June 30th, there are 89 in the field. From that 89, if we take out 9 from the 105th recruit class, and then 7 from the 106th recruit class, it leaves us with 73 actual unfilled positions in the field. As of yesterday, there was a recruit class, the 107th started with 10 recruits. So yesterday was their first day getting exposed to police work. Police communication officers position through June 30th. For the officer 1 and 2 positions, there are 31 filled with 8 vacancies. Supervisors for the police communication officers, there's 5 filled with 0 vacancies. As of June 30th, department filled 414 of 503 sworn positions, which is 82%. and 132 out of 163 civilian positions, which is at 81% filled for the department. For our recruitment activities, we are moving forward, and it seems to be fairly consistent with that. So the 104th recruit class, there are 12 in that class. They're due for a solo assignment till July 31st. 105th recruit class, there's 9 in field training until September 30th. 106th, 7 in that recruit class, they'll be in training until October 1st. And then the 107th, 10, which started yesterday. There are active recruitments in place for the 108th and 109th moving forward. We don't have start dates for that yet, but there are 82 individuals that passed the written test for that, which is a decent number. And then we have just scheduled to attend the agility of 93. That number is higher because there were some retakes from people who didn't pass the agility the first time through. So on June 3rd, we had 16 applicants were referred to the department. 10 of those were new applicants, 6 were retakes for the agility. On that agility day, there were 4 no-shows, 2 failed, and 10 passed. So 10 moved forward from that 16. On July 8th, we had 12 names for the recruitment, which was for the agility test, which was 10 new applicants, 2 retakes. We had 3 no-shows, 3 failed, and 6 passed. So 6 names out of the 12 move forward to the next phase in the recruitment process. The next agility for that, along with the other ones, is August 5th. We're doing those monthly for the continuous recruitment, and for anyone who didn't pass the agility the first time, they have an opportunity to retake the test. Are there any questions from the commission on the personnel report?
I got a quick question.
Sir.
Does the fire department also, are they also having continuous recruitment? Just, I don't know.
I honestly,
you know, I don't know. I'll try to find out.
I get
Okay,
you.
but we are still, right?
Yes.
Okay. I can't help but notice driving by the fire recruits training in the early morning and thinking, wow, there's a lot of people want to be firefighters compared to.
Well, as you know, police work is challenging, and you're never really off the clock,
Yeah.
where fire guys have a
Yeah,
little bit different role.
that's true. Everybody loves firefighters. Yeah. Okay, thank you. You got a question, Judy?
There was, maybe a few months ago, there was a new process, regarding HR. Is that implemented, and
Yes.
how has it been working? If so, like, it was something about, like, that way they didn't have to get vetted twice.
So thank you for bringing that up, and it's a great caveat. I want to share something else. So the process you're talking about is the initial application, where if someone applies to be an officer, an employee of the department, there are county application questions, and then the police department has police department specific application questions if they pass the initial county minimum qualifications. So we were looking at helping to expedite that process, and where that's being implemented or tested is in the school crossing guard application. We want to see if it works smoothly there the way we think it does. If it does, that'll be incorporated in the other applications for the department moving forward. So it's not widely executed yet, but it's with primarily the school crossing guards for now. Along with that, county HR and our HR is realizing there are some challenging positions to be filled on the civilian side, say for an office assistant level 3, where it would require you to have 2 years experience in a certain position before you can fill that. They're looking at having that position still maintain that same class, but lowering the requirements so you could get hired as say a level 1 while you work for a year or 2, gain that experience to move you up to that level. And the reason we're doing that is we're trying to implement that with the county is I think we're missing a lot of people because they look at an application and say, I don't meet that minimum qualification, so I don't even want to apply, where we would rather incorporate an on-the-job training to get you to that and get a good person to fill that role. So that's something in the works. It's not out yet, but I think would be beneficial to us and other departments for the county as we move forward. Sorry, were there any other questions on personnel?
Does the department do early hires anymore for officer positions?
So we have the public safety officer, I believe we call it. So once you pass everything and you're ready to go into a recruit class, 89 days prior to the start of the class, if you meet all the requirements, we can do that. Yes.
That probably helps too, right? From them taking a different job or something. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a minimum amount of recruits that you want to have? I mean, not that you want to have, that you will accept to start a new class? Is there a minimum amount?
No, we don't have a minimum. We're capitalizing on the continuous recruitment, doing 3 classes a year. And we don't, once we get the positions filled to a comfortable level, maybe we can reduce the amount of classes and have bigger classes. But right now, we don't want to lose the interest of people that are interested at the moment
I
to
see.
to other
Okay,
places, yeah.
thank you.
Okay, no other questions. I'll move on to the finance report. I'll start with the caveat on this. It has been probably at the last several police commission meetings. As the county has switched over to Connect, our finance division is able to see and do what we normally do, but to able to produce reports on where we stand, they don't have access to that. We've reached out to the county to help explain that or to get them to produce reports that we normally see, but it doesn't do it in the manner that we see. And it's not a police only issue. It's with all the departments across the county. So it's a very big challenge. I'm very thankful for our finance director within our department who has been there for many years, who kind of knows where we should be and keeps us within the range. But she has some significant questions for what the county is reporting to us versus what we believe where we actually stand. So I'll give this with that caveat as we go through. So for the overall expenditures, again, this is for the complete fiscal year. The target was 100%. We believe we're probably at about 98.24%. There is the regular salary and wages was the 99.15%. Overtime salary and wages and miscellaneous salary and wages are higher. Again, that's because of the short positions. The overtime salary and wages was 323%, and the miscellaneous salary and wages was listed at 541%. The reason for that was there were multiple recruitment classes, staffing and incident operations during the time, and county payroll for some of the funding is showing double allotment. So we don't really have a good number on where we are, and I apologize for that. But again, that is it's a countywide issue right now until they can figure out how to accurately monitor and produce reports and connect.
Any questions? No? How's it going with the officers submitting their own times in this new system?
So it is something new for officers. They're traditionally we've had clerical staff who is very knowledgeable about the various different codes for different shifts and different times they work. So the officers are having to learn something new to input this. We did bring that up many times with the county to try and use our office assistants and clerical staff for their true purpose. And it's something we're exploring now with some of the districts to try and take some of that responsibility away from the officers and put it back to our clerical staff. So it's a challenge, but it's still a work in progress.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Would you mind helping me giving one each to everybody? All right, Sherry Bird, Deputy Police Chief. Good morning, Chair and Commission members. AC Chopay is going to hand out the Chief's finalized strategic plan. If you folks remember, he had disseminated a draft previously, and this is the culmination of all the work until finalization. He had an initial goal of completing it by next month, so it got done a month early, which we're pleased with, but a lot of work went into it. And sorry, I forgot to mention, Chief is away at a senior management institute in Boston. He's on his second week, one more week to go, and he'll be back the week following. So with this plan, once the draft was completed, what happened was it was disseminated to all of the department employees. Everyone had approximately a month to review it and to provide any input, suggestions, etc. So once that closed, we took those ideas and gave it consideration, and then ultimately came up with this final plan. So it's to serve as a guide for the 2026 to 2030 years by aligning our department's mission, vision, goals, and actions. It plans organizational direction and a clear focus of resources to ensure long-term success for our department. At the heart of this plan is the guiding theme, which translates to be a guardian with humility. And this phrase reflects our dual kuleana as protectors of our island community and stewards of its culture. It calls on us to exercise our authority with restraint and respect, to listen carefully as we speak, and to ground every decision in aloha, kuleana, pono, and lokahi. It also provides the police commission and members of the department, as well as our community, with a clear framework for comparison between stated goals and objectives and actual achievements. It also supports transparent, public-facing discussions of progress, challenges, and adjustments in line with the expectation that strategic plans and updates be part of a continuing cycle of oversight and development. We've also posted it online on our website, so anybody can go on and take a look at it as well. And once you have time to read through it and go through it, you can see there's a lot of activities that the chief does have planned to keep our department moving forward. And we're really excited about the future and following this plan. Bear with me, I gotta share my screen here. Okay, so I talked about the strategic plan. The next one is the Kona High Pal Keiki Poke Contest. It was a tasty success. So the Kona Community Policing Section hosted its first ever Hawaii Island Police Activities League Keiki Poke Contest last month at the King Kamehameha's Kona Beach Resort. This event brought together talented young chefs, their families, and community members for a day, celebrating creativity, culture, and Hawaii's rich culinary traditions. There were 15 keiki from across West Hawaii who participated. There were 3 age divisions, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and 13 through 17, with 5 contestants in each category. Participants prepared their own unique poke recipes and were judged on creativity, presentation, taste, and the use of local ingredients. It was a great turnout and a lot of fun for the young chefs and for the judges, me being one of them. It was really a good time. The next activity, Hilo Coffee with a Cup. Our Hilo Community Policing Section held a coffee with a cup last month at Big Island Coffee Roasters. This was the first coffee with a cup in several months in the Hilo area and very well received. On June 28th, our Hilo Community Policing Section held a High Pal motocross event in Hilo. It's my understanding this was the first one ever. 18 keiki ranging in age from 7 to 17 years old participated in the event. Riders from across the island competed in divisions based on their dirt bike size. Winners in each division receive medals and prizes in recognition of their performances. So it's organized by Hilo Community Policing Officer Christopher Barto in coordination with MX 808's Tessa Angelio. Really fun event that all the kids enjoyed. The Hilo Hypo Blue Light Fishing Derby. This was held on July 14th. Kikis participated in this tournament at Carl Smith Beach Park, or 4 miles. Hilo and school resource officers and CPs conducted numerous fishing and ocean safety PowerPoint presentations to summer fun and summer school programs in recent weeks. During the presentations, they were encouraged to participate in outdoor activities and also taught to tie fishing knots. Participants were eligible to participate in the fishing tournament. Plenty of fishing, free hot dog, shave ice, and prizes. So a big mahalo to our Hilo and Puna community policing officers who helped make the day special. And we also thank our partners with the Department of Land and Natural Resources who also joined us to support these activities. The Kupuna Watch meetings, our popular Kupuna Watch meeting series continue to expand. Our Puna Community Policing section held 2 Kupuna Watch meetings in June. One on June 18th at the Cooper Center in Volcano, and another on June 25th at the Hope Services Sacred Hearts Permanent Supportive Housing Shelter in Pahua. And then Puna CPs also held one earlier this week at the Ainaloa Longhouse in Ainaloa. About 20 to 25 seniors attended each event. Also, our Hilo community policing officers held a Kupuna Watch meeting with the Lions Club at Ken's House of Pancakes last month. Our first ever Kupuna Day in Kona. Our Kona Community Policing Section proudly welcomed more than 40 kupuna to the Kealakahe Police Station on June 23rd. For the department's first ever Kupuna Day, this inaugural community outreach event was created to strengthen relationships between law enforcement and Hawaii Island senior community through education, engagement, and fellowship. Spearheaded by Sergeant Wyatt Nahale, he was responsible for developing the popular Kupuna Watch meetings. This Kupuna Day was a great success. Our Kona CP section extends its sincere mahalos to the County of Hawaii's Department of Parks and Recreation's Elderly Activities Division and Denny's Kona for their valued partnership and generous support in making this day a success. I don't have a slide for it, but the chief had a talk story, his monthly talk story last month in Pahua, in KL. There was probably about 8 people in attendance, but good feedback. And I do want to share that, you know, sometimes when we have these meetings, we don't necessarily hear all good things, but this meeting was actually all good things about the proactivity and the energy of our community policing team out there. Just nothing but good things to say about them. And then his next talk story session will be it will be Tuesday, the 29th here in Kona. Actually, right in here. Traffic safety outreach. You know, our department remains committed to reducing traffic fatalities and injuries on our island roads. Just rehashing, you know, June 4th, we had that unfortunate second fatality in such a short time on DKI. So, you know, there's no easy answer, but the plan was to conduct high visibility traffic enforcement on DKI, sending the message to the community that this, you know, poor driving pattern is not acceptable. Also, in this process, reached out to DOT, Director Ed Sniffen, and as you can see, there is work that is being done currently on DKI. I believe yesterday, Big Island Now, an article was published that kind of outlines activities that, road improvement activities that are occurring on DKI, but some of that is they're replacing some road material, and I do not have the proper terms for it, but road material that will absorb water better. Being a frequent driver of that road, we do know there's areas that the water seems to come across the road. Also working on the drainage issues in those areas. Other things that they're working on is maybe striping, creating no passing zones in certain areas, and installing dividers, and then better enhancing the roadway visibility markers so that in poor weather conditions, drivers can see those better. From the police department standpoint, again, from June 4th through the 21st, we did our high visibility enforcement. We made it public so that the community would know that this is what we're gonna do. And I am very, we let everybody know, it wasn't a secret. But we ended up during that time period with 649 speeding, 7 reckless driving violations, 6 unsafe passing violations, and 509 other traffic violations. I know there was discussion already, we were not able to sustain that. And also we have to take into consideration other roadways where we do have fatalities occur as well. So as much as possible, we're trying to spread our resources so that we don't also ignore other areas that need our attention as well. We have reached out to our partners with sheriffs, and we're trying to come up with a plan for them. They are manpower restrained, I'll say, and capabilities are not necessarily the same as ours. So they are trying to work on a plan to get their personnel up to speed as well as enhance their resources so that they can be more available to assist in projects like these. But ultimately, we do want to encourage driver responsibility because a lot of our accidents that we do have are preventable. And I'll just leave it that we do encourage driver accountability. So on this slide, our traffic services program manager, Tori Keltner, he's, given many interviews to the media promoting traffic safety, especially with our 100 deadly days of summer. We're in the midst of that. Officer Roberg, he's with our Area 2 Traffic Enforcement Unit. He was honored with the MAD Award for his innovative Heal Our Highways traffic safety program. He started the Heal Our Highways initiative in October 2025 to promote safer driving habits through community education, public outreach, and increased awareness of the devastating consequences of impaired, distracted, and reckless driving. Over the past year, he has built partnerships with community and government agencies, organized sign waving events across the island, held rallies, and appeared on several social media outlets. So we congratulate him on this campaign, and it's a well-deserved award for him. The recognition ceremony and promotions. We held a ceremony on June 22nd in Hilo. From officers earning new ranks to civilian employees advancing in their careers, this ceremony celebrated the hard work, professionalism, and dedication of the people who keep our department and our community moving forward. Every promotion represents years of commitment, training, and service, whether being in patrol, investigations, communications, records, evidence dispatch, or behind the scenes. In countless other roles, each of these individuals play an important part in our mission to serve and protect our island. This ceremony, we're a little bit behind, but we recognized all those promoted since our last ceremony in January 2025. And we're fortunate that the mayor came and partook in the ceremony, so thankful for that. The HISPA Officer of the Quarter for his exemplary service in assisting a stranded motorist on a busy highway, South Kohala Patrol Officer Andrew Love Jr. He was recognized as the officer for the first quarter of 2026 by the HISPA group. Officer Love had encountered a driver whose vehicle had run out of fuel. So he came upon him, recognized the safety risk that was posed by the vehicle's location and the stress of the situation for the motorist. He took proactive steps to ensure that they were taken care of. He was able to push the vehicle off the road. Then he took off to the nearest gas station where he was able to get some diesel fuel for this vehicle, went back, jump started or helped with the fuel, and then jump started the car, and driver was able to get safely back on the road and on his way. And then the Kona Crime Prevention Committee, July Officer of the Month, John Harvey, he was honored for his life-saving actions following a serious traffic collision. Arriving within minutes of the crash, Officer Harvey found an unresponsive victim without a pulse. He immediately began CPR and successfully restored the man's pulse before paramedics arrived. Months later, the victim's grandmother credited Officer Harvey's swift response with saving her grandson's life and expressed his gratitude as he continued his recovery from life-threatening injuries. And just hearing Officer Harvey speak, it was just actually just another day for him, another day in the job, I guess. Well, that completes my report. Any questions?
Couple of questions. Fantastic report. Thank you for the update. So I know one of the topics that we're hearing more and more about is with the Supreme Court's decision on the concealed carry law and the need for businesses to post outside of their businesses in order to inform customers that they're not allowed to come in with a concealed carry. You've heard different opinions and concerns, and some people showing gratitude. Is this affecting you folks at all? And have you gotten any calls? Is this something that you anticipate being an issue that you need to deal with?
The chief's office haven't received any calls, and I'm not aware of us being like inundated or anything like that, no.
Okay.
And, if a concern is brought to our attention, we'll, look at the legalities and, deal with it then.
Okay, perfect. The other question, so this is more of a comment, so that it's on record that I said it and it doesn't have to necessarily come directly from you folks, but you talked about the sheriffs needing resources. I can't remember the last time in the last 4 years that I've gone to the airport and I haven't seen at least 2 sheriffs pulling over at least 1 person. So there might be some resources that can be reallocated. So again, so you guys don't have to say that. You can say that you're hearing it from the commission. And one commissioner in particular, there may be some resources there. And if there's anything we can do to support that, whether that's writing letters of support or anything, or any of those initiatives to further that collaboration, please let us know.
I appreciate that. We are in communication. I understand, I don't want to speak necessarily for them, but I do understand their, I guess the idea is they have to focus on what their priorities first are before they can branch off, but also the abilities of their sheriffs are not necessarily, I'll say for like DUI arrest, for instance, they might not be as qualified to do those kinds of things than we are.
Of course, yep, that makes sense. Another just kind of question with the fire that happened in Waikoloa last week, and then the evacuation that resulted, as well as the evacuation that happened out of Waikoloa last year, which kind of recently made headlines again, just because Honolulu is basically admitting they're not properly prepared for that level of traffic, and kind of the concerns that come from a bottleneck traffic when there could be a natural disaster like that coming. What type of collaboration are you folks doing with civil defense and other emergency response departments to help address that? Every time that there's a fire, Mauka of Waikoloa, I hold my breath. We send whatever resources we can from the ranch and try to cooperate as much as we can, make reservoirs available, all of that. But it's really scary. It's one road in, one road out. I know there's different legislation being pushed to try to get funding, which I believe they secured some of it. to get new roads put in. But, you know, on the HPD side of things, a lot of that burden to respond to evacuating and everything else is going to fall on you folks. So what are some of the conversations that you folks are having to be proactive, knowing that, you know, we have had a very wet summer, the fuel load is there, we're going to have these events, and none of that is changing. But what we can change is our own behavior and how we respond.
Yep, I agree. In fact, the last time Waikoloa Village was evacuated, I actually oversaw that, and that was a beast. You know, I think during that time, the community has participated in the Hulu Street practice evacuation, I should say. So I think that's helpful as far as a community standpoint, police, you know, trying to work that angle. I do believe the mayor's office is also working on possibly another outlet. I don't know where the status is of that right now. And then for the police department side, you know, as far as scheduling, I mean, we are in constant communication with civil defense, planning. There's no easy answer for it, because if we have to evacuate the village, we need to get people out. Depending on the direction, this is what we need to do. Are there ideas that we could do for roadway, to mitigate roadway traffic, to facilitate traffic flow? Possibly, and those are conversations that we're having, but it's a work in progress.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate that. And then last item, sorry, Chair, is so specifically related to kind of the ag community. So ranchers, farmers, kind of all throughout rural Big Island, which is most of it. You know, we're really seeing a lot of trespassing, a lot of poaching. And it really seems like no matter what type of reporting we're doing, it's got no teeth. And, you know, we know the people's names, we've got their vehicles, you know, officers will show up as soon as they can when the vehicles are parked at our gates. And this is not just in Waimea, this is in Ka'u, this is in Kohala, this is Hamakua, this is everywhere. Then the same people will then post on social media. They'll tag the ranch that they are, you know, poaching in, and do all those sorts of things. And kind of the response we keep getting is, you know, none of that is going to hold up in court. And I can respect that. But there's got to be some other form of deterrent that can be deployed. And I'm just going to be blunt about this. I mean, if the rural kind of ag community is not kind of acknowledged in their issues, they're going to be forced to take matters into their own hands. And, you know, those of us in leadership positions are trying to keep that at bay as best as we can. But cattle prices are at an all-time high. Kids are off school, they're home from college, all these different things. So we're seeing just the same seasonal spike that we always see, whether that's just recreational trespassing or hunting or cattle rustling or anything else. What can we do as an ag community to work more closely with you folks? Even to say, hey, this is the license plate number, these are the people that posted it, swing by their house, send them a letter, and just say, hey, we're watching you guys, and you know, you may not have gotten caught red-handed on property this time, but we're aware of what you're doing, and if this continues, we're going to look into it further, because most of the time those same people don't want somebody snooping around their house. Any suggestions? As a commissioner, I get inundated with these concerns all the time about what can HPD do. You know, I know Department of Law Enforcement was trying to take the lead on that. Bluntly, they're in shambles. They have no leadership right now. We're seeing no progress there. But the issue is not going away. In fact, it's getting much, much worse. So what can we do to
So
work better?
Depending on where it's happening, you know, first, I mean, it sounds like it might be a more longer term problem where maybe our community policing may need to get involved and to try and establish, maybe we have to do a covert operation or, you know, something to that effect, a more longer term solution. You know, you also, if you're not, I guess, getting the response that you feel is appropriate, then we can elevate to the district commander and, chat with that. But, without having specifics of your specific incidents, I think ultimately, it sounds like what you're explaining is more of a longer term solution, and it's not above us to, plan something so we can address, people.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, like, I don't think community education is gonna help, frankly. I think they know that they're in the wrong doing this, and they're making that very clear in their social media posts. But if we've got license plates, names, social media posts, and in some cases even police report numbers that we know these vehicles were parked here and we just couldn't find them, um, you know, again, from a layperson's perspective, that's a lot of information for us to just be told, well, sorry, the best we can do is give you a police report number, knowing you have full access to their address, where that vehicle's home address is, all of that to again, just pay them a visit. And it can be something informal. Again, because if this continues, I don't think that the outcome is going to be good for anybody.
Right. Just on the police side, we have to make sure that we're abiding by what we're legally,
Sure.
so we have to make sure, again, each case is specific. I don't know the specifics, but, I it will be difficult for us just to knock on somebody's door
Mhm.
without certain facts.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm just throwing that out as an example, but I think the summary of all this is the outcomes are not improving. And again, this is not a huge part of the population. This is not urban Kona, where there's lots of people affected by it, but it affects our livelihoods and the livelihoods of family farmers and ranchers who regularly feel like they don't have a voice in these sort of things. And so it's just something to think about. If we can come up with some sort of messaging to those families, to those businesses, and something where we can help curb the activity and try to move toward a better outcome. Because it's the same outcome and kind of the same response level because, you guys are kind of restricted to what you can and can't do. And I can fully appreciate that. But we have to do something different for these folks. And like a stakeout doesn't work because these are huge landscapes. So they'll just come in from a different area. So I don't know what the answer is, but I just wanted to kind of put that forward to you to work with Chief Mahuna and the leadership to hopefully come up with something. We need a better response than what's currently happening. Not that they're not showing up, but the outcome's not changing, and we have to find some way to change that outcome.
Could we arrange maybe an offline discussion?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy
To
to
chat
do that.
more.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lassert. I have a question regarding TROs. I'd just like to understand the process, and I've had so many complaints from local people that they don't get served, and sometimes they're told, "Well, go hire a private detective." And I've had some personal, not me, but personal interactions. And I don't understand why they don't get served. And then, uh, what happens is the court date expires, so the TRO is no good again. So can you just explain to me, and out of frustration, I think somebody said, well, there's 200 TROs and we don't have the manpower to, service them. So I just like to have an understanding because some of the situations that I know of, it was scary that they weren't being served. I mean, there was some written, and I have to, refer back to the TROs that were put before the 3 murders, that the girls put out before the guy murdered. But I would like to understand the TRO. So when people approach me and say, I've been trying to get this TRO served against this abusive, whatever, for 3 months, 6 months. Can you just explain that to me?
Yeah, so when the signed TROs come to the police department, I mean, we do our best to contact the person and serve them. Unfortunately, they're not always where at the locations that are provided to us. We try our best. Yeah, I don't,
But if they're, that doesn't compute with me. Um, Because there's a reason for that TRO.
Mhm.
And it's usually physical violence. Um, that doesn't, that answer does not sit with me. If the court has issued that TRO, it's serious. So I don't understand why there's no action on them.
well, it's not that we don't try to serve it, but we're given, information, maybe an address, maybe a employer, a phone number, and we'll try those methods to try and contact that person. Um, but sometimes they're just not there.
I just feel there needs to be some kind of system because there's some risk, jeopardy there for people.
If I could
Mhm.
interject, if it's a family court TRO, and it sounds like that's what you're talking about.
One was, one isn't, yeah.
One is, so they're very different.
Mhm.
I think law enforcement will serve family court TROs. We don't serve civil TROs, correct?
Correct.
But in the case of, let's say, a family court TRO, if the petitioner, they have a service copy with them. And if they see the respondent, they can call the police and have the person served.
Okay.
They don't have to make contact with them.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even recommend it, but that is another way. But like the um, deputy chief said, if they're given enough information on the TRO, because family court TROs take precedence, they take priority, right? So, especially if there's somebody calling, saying that I know this person is here
Mhm.
right now, or this person works at this such and such place. Yeah. So I don't know what your personal experience is, but I just know that's how it was,
Yeah.
how it was done.
Okay. I just think it's inadequate, so I don't know what to otherwise to express, but when there's physical danger, I just don't understand. So just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy, I have a question. In regards to Police Commissioner Tavares's question about the trespassers, what would be needed for someone to go and knock on these people's door? What would they need to call in with to warrant an officer to go out and knock on the trespasser's door?
Yeah, so essentially we would need to know that somebody was on trespassing on property, whether that's a witness statement, video surveillance, those kinds of things. Um, Perhaps maybe what's been posted on social media, but again, we gotta look at all of that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I just wanted to recognize the whole manhunt efforts. I got it obviously from a lot of different community members. I'm sure you guys have heard it, but I just thought it was from the time that manhunt happened, it was just very professional. It was just impressive, it was efficient. I just thought it was a good representation of the department and all of the officers who were involved with that. So that was a very job well done on that.
Thank you, appreciate that. Officer did really great.
And that was a collaborative effort. Yeah. Multi-agencies were involved in that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just a reminder to commissioners, to try to state your name when you ask your question. Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, no more questions. We're going to call a short recess, 5-minute recess, and we'll reconvene for new business. Okay? So we'll be back 5 after 11. get going. Okay, we're back in session. It is 11:15. Agenda item 5, new business. Correspondence number 2606, invitation to the annual Officer of the Year luncheon. Invitation to the Kona Crime Prevention Committee 43rd Annual Officer of the Year luncheon on September 11. I think there's a flyer. Oh. Before I get to this, is there any other testimony on, or any testimony on the new business? Okay, seeing none. Okay, moving on. Like I said, I think there's a flyer from the KCPC in here.
Yeah.
So I believe, I'm sorry, I don't. Okay, does that invitation mean that I assume that we can go? Do we pay our own way? I don't know. I don't know how it's been handled. You know, Lynn? Okay. Okay. Same with the next item. We have a correspondence inviting, is this an invitation to the commission? Yeah, okay. For the Hawaii State Law Enforcement Officials Association, HISLOA, 70th Conference on September 27th through the 29th, and the Public Safety and Security Expo 2026 on Oahu, which is being hosted by the Department of Law Enforcement. So we have another flyer in there.
Typically, they do pay for up to 4 people.
Up to 4 people? Do you know the answer to that, Lynn? Or up to 4 of us can attend, or? Okay, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, so there's a HRS rule on how many commissioners can attend an informational meeting related to board business. So 2 to 4 commissioners can attend these type of conferences and meetings directed towards you guys as police commissioners. And I think historically they're paid for by the department, but Lynn can check with that. So usually when these come on the agenda, you guys just ask, does anyone want to go? Up to 4 people could go.
With that being said, does anybody want to go to either of those events? We'll just get a rough count.
I might go to the Kona one, but I'm not gonna, for sure, I won't be at the other one, the one on Oahu.
So Commissioner Fisher, sorry, Bernie,
Commissioner Urban Smith, I'm interested in both.
you're interested in both? Okay. How about you, Jacob?
September 29th, 7th through the 29th.
Yeah, 26,
6, so
Yeah.
26th, 27th, 28th to 29th.
that's Oahu, at Turtle Bay.
I'm gonna pass.
Okay, what about the annual Kona Crime Prevention luncheon? Are you interested in that?
I'd have to go and look at my
Okay, okay. So, I'm sorry, Bernie, did you say you can come to the Kona one or both? You said both, okay. So, okay, so that's 1, 2. I'm interested in both. What about you, Eileen?
You should go because the past chairs have gone
Okay,
every year.
do
When's-
both.
when's the Kona one?
That's at 11.
Yeah.
Oh, 9/11. Okay, I would be interested in going in Honolulu, but actually I'm not here.
Okay, and we'll check with,
I think Wendy did mention she wants.
go to the Honolulu one, okay? And we'll check with the remaining members, okay? All right,
So Chair, Deputy Corporation Counsel Sinclair Sauls Ferguson. So maybe Lynn can note down who's interested. And then follow up with the other commissioners and just say, okay, so far we got these people interested in these things, and there's a few more slots available if any other commissioners. And then you can follow up with HPD admin to see how they, maybe they don't have funds, I don't know, to see if they have the funds for that.
Okay. Okay, where are we at here? Formation of a permitted interaction group.
Public testimony?
No.
I think it's okay, sure.
On new business? Yeah, come on up, and just tell us who you are again for the recording.
My question would be to the commissioners, is this a new thing that you're gonna do up there? I mean, we.
Sorry. Aloha Lani Hope Sermel, Kohala. Formation of a permitted interaction group. These are great groups. We get a lot done. And it's informal, and yet you're going to discuss commission rules of practice and procedures. Aren't those already in place?
Yes, they are. These are to amend our existing rules.
That's what happened
And
exactly with the
we've had a
election
committee
commission.
previous to this that addressed this, but from what I understand, those members are no longer members. So we're looking at forming a new one to continue that. Is that correct? That's sound correct? Okay.
And are there that many problems in the police commission realm?
I don't think it's necessarily to address problems. It's just to address, things change over time and procedures. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for letting me testify. God
All right,
bless
thank
Hawaii.
you. Okay, so we can look at, this group is what, 2 or 3 members?
It's up to 4.
Up to 4? Okay.
I would like to be on.
All right, perfect.
Because I know what the last guys did, so
Good point.
it could be helpful.
Yeah,
So, Chair, can I say something?
go ahead.
Sorry, Deputy Corporation Counsel Sinclair Stiles Ferguson again, to remind everybody about permitted interaction groups. So you can form a permitted interaction group to investigate a matter relating to board business, which you can have 2 to 4 members on the board. On the permitted interaction group. And so you guys can do your work outside of the meetings whenever you want to. And for however long is necessary. So you'd form the group and you would say, okay, these are the members and this is the scope of the investigation. And that's what you need to do today, the members and what they're going to investigate. And then they would be formed, they would go out and do their investigation. When they're done with that, they would notify chair, and then we'd put it on the agenda for them to present their findings and recommendations. And then that would be the second meeting. And then at the next meeting, whenever that is, you guys could discuss what to do with those findings and recommendations.
Okay, as far as what we're going to investigate or look at, since you have experience on the previous committee, you have any ideas?
Look at what they had done already and then kind of,
Okay,
summarize that. And also is a question to you. Is this a place where we can put in like more procedures? And I just have some ideas with that I think it would be helpful.
okay. Sounds good. Can I be on it too?
Yes, you have to be.
Okay. Okay, so that's 2 of us. Anybody else?
Wendy would.
Wendy would. So that's 3 of us. Is that good? Yeah. Okay.
So, Chair, somebody can make a motion to form a permitted interaction group to investigate amendments to the County of Hawaii Police Commission Rules of Practice and Procedure to include Commissioner Lacerte, Chairperson Yamada. And if she's willing to serve on the committee, Vice Chair Botello.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Okay, executive session. Okay, we're gonna move into executive session now, everybody. Which means we need to clear the room.
Would you like me to do the,
Oh, yeah, sorry, we need a
Okay.
motion for that.
I'll make the motion, Chair. Commissioner Tavares. For the following agenda items, the commission will meet in executive session to consider charges against officers or employees of the police department where matters affecting privacy will be involved and may consult with the board's attorney on questions and issues pertaining to the commission's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities pursuant to HRS 92-5A24 and the Hawaii County Charter Section 13-20B.
All right, can I get a second on that?
Commissioner Fisher, second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion passed. We'll now move into the executive session at 11:25. Okay.